There you go.
I am always surprised at how famous New Zealand midwifery is everywhere else except in New Zealand. There are 60,000 mothers giving birth every year. So that's 60,000 mums and 60,000 babies that midwives look after. That's 120,000 humans a year. That's the start of life's journey for those babies.
That's good. And there's a foot there, sorry. Sorry, is it tickly?
Community midwife is the LMC, the lead maternity carer that is case managing that woman's maternity experience. So she's very reliant on the midwives in the hospital being accessible when she needs them, the obstetricians in the hospital being ready when she needs them. She's responsible for the GP responding to her, or for handing over to the GP, for handing over to Wellchild, Plunkett, Tima, Iki, Ora. And because she knows the woman and the family best, because she's had at least 9 months with that family.
Hello.
There's no one else has that contact. Like, you have hours and hours and hours of that family. I mean, you are so well placed to understand what that family needs.
You're going to sink into the sofa, but that's all right. And this baby certainly is on the move.
Yeah.
Started on this side and then went right round.
My uterus is like a washing machine. The baby's just like rolling and rolling. In France, we don't have a midwife that follows us. It's not very common, and then that midwife wouldn't be able to actually give birth to your baby, because you just go to the hospital and whoever is actually working on the day will take care of you and the delivery of your baby.
I've lost count the number of universities I've spoken to and the number of government Minister of Health people I've met. I've spoken at universities in Indonesia, Philippines, in Turkey. I had the red carpet rolled out in Turkey so that they could talk to a New Zealand midwife about continuity of care and how do you do it. I'm always shocked by that. I said, well, it's quite straightforward. You actually put the woman and you in the same position and you go for it and you work out what you want and you give that woman some status and power. Let her make her decisions about her body. And that partnership relationship between the midwife and the woman is what makes the New Zealand system unique.
So we're going to see Eve and Pete are the couple, and baby Will. She's 2 weeks postpartum, and yeah, we're just doing a normal postnatal visit. How are you?
Good, how are you? Come on in.
Will, this is Eve's first baby. She had a very long, protracted labour with a caesarean section. It was a very long day, and she's been an absolute champion and has recovered very, very well. Other than a wound infection, which I popped in to see her on Sunday.
In the States, it's just a totally different system. It's much more clinical. So being here and having one person walking through the system, not worrying about the finances of having a kid, we feel very lucky that we were able to have him here.
Hello, Mr. Will. How are you? Hi. How are you?
And she's been a really a rock for me through a lot of this, especially being in New Zealand, not having family here.
We were one of the first countries to register midwives, 1904, and we had lots of maternity homes with midwives who ran them. Before 1971, midwives were an autonomous profession, not reliant on anybody else for the tick-off. The male doctors didn't really take much of an interest. And then, of course, we got, all the infections in hospitals. Then they decided that all practice doctors should be involved. After 71, we lost a lot of our skills. All of those maternity units, just about without exception, closed down as women moved into the hospitals.
The local hospital's a friendly place, and at a convenient time...
And the midwives became sort of obstetric nurses. You had to be supervised by a doctor. The obstetrician looked after the woman and the nurse did as they were told. And medicine ruled.
After the baby is born, both mother and child...
And when I went to do midwifery in Christchurch Women's, I was really shocked at what we did to women. We lined them up in a row, little booths, no curtains, nothing.
With a thorough, top-to-toe examination of the...
It was really open to me, something was seriously wrong. We didn't have anybody representing midwives as midwives. We needed a separate organisation that looked after the interests of midwives who look after the interests of mothers and newborns. We couldn't even attract nurses to do midwifery. Nobody was interested. I know there was one year we only educated 11 midwives. So something had to be done. We had to have midwives. Morning, everyone. It was Helen Clark actually who gave us a grant for the first year. I was employed for $20,000 to set up all the things that we needed. Hi, Carla, come on in.
Karen has been a driver for the development of the College of Midwives since its inception. She has real vision.
We're the umbrella that tries to keep the quality of midwifery improving constantly. That's what the college's main aim is to be. And in order to do that, we have to advocate a lot.
I'll just read the one for today. 2.5 weeks ago, I had 4 births over about 8 days. All night births, often get called at midnight. We get paid for first and second trimester, third birth and then postnatal. As far as anything outside of that is extra. We don't get paid travel for antenatal. If we do antenatal visits at home, we don't get paid postnatal visits for driving.
We've had 2 separate independent reviews, evaluation, pay equity evaluation, and we are comparable to a GP. I mean, midwives stop hemorrhaging, they treat hemorrhaging, they prevent hemorrhaging, they suture when things go wrong, they put in IV lines, they resuscitate babies. They do all the stuff that actually a lot of GPs don't do.
For a midwife, urgent, when you're on call, basically urgent means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we get contacted at all times.
The plumber gets a call-out fee, gets a travel fee. Everybody is recognised, but for some reason we get a bulk sum and we're meant to do everything for that. No wonder we can't keep the midwives.
Hi, I've just found your details on the Find a Midwife website. I've just discovered I'm pregnant and I need a midwife.
Young women today just don't want to do things for nothing, and rightly so.
When's your baby due?
Well,
We tracked that most midwives stayed about 15 years in midwifery, but nowadays, on average, midwives will work for about 6 years because the work is unsustainable. And all we want is a contract structure that enables midwives to spend the time, because it's all about time.
Our job is to walk alongside you, to be your advocate. We would be with you through the labour until about 2 or 3 hours after the birth.
great. I'm a little bit nervous about it. Do I see you soon, or when do I first see you?
Yes, you could, well, we can...
There is no explanation other than women's work is not valued in the same way as other work. 99% of us are women looking after 100% women. And those 2 double whammies somehow or other make it that, well, you should be grateful, you know, you're a good woman, you should be looking after this family and they love you, and that should be enough. And of course, that is what keeps midwifery there. It is a fabulous job.
That's up 200 grams?
Yeah, he was 3.74 last
We have had some major successes, but this is the last thing, and this is the straw that's breaking the midwife's back, because there's a lot of burnout.
And I noticed yesterday around his eye, it was just a little bit puffy.
The only time we'd be worried about babies is when they have if they've got a really mucky eye or red eye or watery eye.
Just underneath it. It was the skin, not the eye.
A lot of what we're talking about, it doesn't happen overnight. Like it's all part of society. It's part of poverty, part of housing, part of education, all those sort of things. I mean, maternity can't fix everything. But we have had a real steady influence on the well-being of women and babies.
You're going to say hi.
You'd think, wouldn't you, with this government, for instance, which prides itself on egalitarianism and equality and whatever, you'd sort of think mothers and newborns would take precedent, but they don't, and they never have under any government, and that's universal. We want to be understood as a really prime, life-saving health profession.
There, that's better, isn't it?